Our culture tells us that one of the most important relationships is the mother-daughter relationship. We're expected to have a relationship that consists of heartfelt Mother's Day cards, hour-long girl chats on the phone, and all the other works. However, many mother-daughter relationships don't look like the romanticized movie version of family. Even relationships that are not outright destructive can be toxic and detrimental to your well-being. Many adult women struggle with mothers who undermine their self-esteem, are codependent, or repeat toxic patterns from childhood. If you catch yourself repeating unwanted cycles from your childhood or feeling emotional distress due to your relationship with your mother, you are not alone. Millions of women struggle with mother-daughter relationships. By identifying toxic patterns and using strategies to break them, you can rebuild your sense of self and even your relationship with your mother into something healthy. Which leads us into today's video. Let's discuss the mother-daughter relationship in the Disney Pixar film Turning Red, here on Millie the Mermaid.
To all the royals of the sea, welcome to the reef. I'm Millie the Mermaid.
Now, if you have not seen the film Turning Red, then I suggest you do so. And once you do, come back to this video so we can discuss this topic together. Disclaimer, I am not here to bash the film Turning Red, its characters, or Disney. By no means am I intentionally trying to offend anyone. I just really love this film, and I know that characters in this film can be extremely relatable. And that's why we are going to break down this mother-daughter relationship today. Now, we have to begin with defining what is a toxic relationship. Put it simply, it's any relationship in which your well-being is at risk. This includes your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. There are many misconceptions about toxic relationships, right? So too many people see relationships as dichotomies where they're either toxic or healthy. Your relationship with your mother does not have to include outright toxicity to make you feel bad, though. And your feelings of discomfort and sadness around such relationship are valid even if you don't think things are bad enough. Another misconception is that toxic relationships can only occur in romantic partnerships. That's simply not true. Any interpersonal relationship that is important to you can become toxic if it is not based on a foundation of mutual respect. This includes romantic partners, but also family members like mothers and your friends, of course. And being in a relationship that is toxic does not mean that either of you are bad people. Just remember that, especially in mother and daughter relationships, many of the toxic behaviors arise from a mother acting in overbearing ways because she wants the best for her daughter, or because the adult unintentionally repeats toxic patterns learned from her own childhood. Do not think that you are insulting your mother by identifying toxic patterns in your relationship. You're actually helping both of you grow as people. Well, that basically summarizes the movie Turning Red, starring actress Rosalie Chang, who plays the main character, Mei Li, who is 13 years old. She's actually torn between staying her mother's dutiful daughter and the changes of adolescence. And if the challenges weren't already hard enough, whenever she gets overly excited, she transforms into a giant red panda.
Mama's girl.
How to identify if your mother-daughter relationship is toxic. Identifying if your relationship with your mother is toxic is often difficult. Chances are she's the only example of mother-daughter relationship that you are intimately familiar with. If you've grown up with a toxic mother-daughter relationship, you might think that what you're experiencing is normal. And every relationship is different, but here are some of the most common signs of a toxic parent-child relationship. If you recognize several of them in your relationship with your mother, it's time to take action. And number one is poor boundaries. One of the most common signs of a toxic mother-daughter relationship is a lack of boundaries. This can manifest in several ways. I remember in Turning Red, when Mei Li for the first time turned into the red panda. Well, first of all, the red panda is the symbolization of her going through puberty. So when her mom found out that she turned into the red panda for the first time, her mother stormed into the bathroom and said, your body is changing, and I have all the tools that you need to, like, get through this. I have pads, I have ibuprofen, I have tea to help us girls. If you know. But when her mom, Mei Lee had to go to school that day, right? And so her mom dropped her off at school, and her friend noticed that her mom was outside the window in the classroom spying on her. And Mei Lee noticed that her mom was doing it too, and she was trying to turn away, and she was like, oh my gosh, please don't do this, like, you're embarrassing me. And somebody from the school was telling her, hey, you can't be outside. But her mom went up to the window, and the other classmates saw, and her mom just yelled out, you forgot your pads. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why would she do that? And when she said that, Mei Lee completely transformed into the red panda out of her intense emotions. And I just empathize with Mei Lee right here, because it was just so embarrassing. Now, I'm pretty sure that, we could all relate to what Mei Lee could be feeling in this moment. And I would say that this moment in the film is definitely where Mei Lee's mom was overstepping her boundaries. And one common way toxic mothers overstep their boundaries with their daughters is by micromanaging their lives as well. If your mother continues to dictate your appearance, your career, or your romantic choices, or even meddles in your life long after you reached adulthood, that is a sign of toxicity. You can be close with your mother while still having separate lives, especially when you're both grown adults. And, I think about another scene in the film, is when Mei Lee's mom found out about a boy that Mei Lee liked, right? So Mei Lee was like drawing a picture in her journal. She was like, oh, he is kind of cute.
Shoulder's like kind of nice, I guess. His eyes are.
Right? And when her mom looked at that picture that she drew, she was like, oh my gosh, I know who this boy is. And she took the notebook and exposed the pictures of what Mei Lee was drawing to the guy that she was crushing on at the store, right? And everybody was there too. And again, it's just like these embarrassing moments that, Mei Lee experiences. Like, her mom is just overexposing her. And I think the mom could have handled it in such a different way. But what really makes me upset, though, it's the fact that Mei Lee doesn't feel emotionally vulnerable enough to verbally tell her mother to stop. Like, she just doesn't like it, right? Mei Lee is, to me, I feel like struggles from perfectionism and in this film, with her mom, because it's like, I gotta get straight A's. I gotta be good at everything. I gotta come home. I gotta be with my family all the time. And, her friends are noticing it, and she's not spending as much time with her friends, and Mei Lee's a teenager now, and she's starting to have crushes on boys and going through, menstruation, and all while still trying to, just maintain a great relationship with her mom. And, I just relate to Mei Lee in this scene, in the sense, I relate to Mei Lee in general, because I'm an only child too. And sometimes I think we can be around our parents so much that we end up losing ourselves in the process of trying to please them, because what our parents think of us means so much to us. And that, unfortunately, is, if it's not addressed in a healthy manner, it can lead to long-term distance, resentment, and again, that continuation of having poor boundaries.
Oh dear, it must be so difficult keeping that unruly beast at bay.
Another common sign of dysfunctional mother-daughter relationships is a lack of support, which can manifest in several ways. So in the movie Turning Red, there is a singing group called Four Town, right? And Mei Lee, along with her friends, really want to go to the concert, and then mom tells Mei Lee that she cannot go to the concert and that she needs to put her family first, because when Mei Lee's mom was a child, that's what she did. She put her mom first. And Mei Lee just has interests outside of just spending time with her mom all the time. Like, she is not her mom. She wants to be able to spend time with her friends as well. And that's something that her mom sort of struggles to understand. And if your mother shows a lack of empathy or understanding for your problems while expecting you to drop everything to help her manage her problems, that is a sign of a relationship that is unhealthy. And as an adult, you can help your mother more than you did as a child, but that help and understanding should flow both ways. And many of the behavioral patterns showing a consistent lack of support begin in childhood. If your mother spent your childhood blaming you for her problems or overreacting to minor mistakes on your part, such as a bad grade on a test, that is a toxic behavioral pattern. And this pattern may continue into adulthood with the nitpicking and criticizing all of your decisions. And don't underestimate the effect that lack of parental support can have on your well-being. The job of parents is not only to support children physically, but also emotionally, which includes making children feel loved and supported.
No, she gained weight. She looks like her mother. She looks like her father.
Lady.
Nobody can be positive all the time, and everyone experiences negative emotions. However, if your relationship with your mother involves constant negativity, it is probably toxic. This includes negativity towards you, directed right at you. So if your mother constantly criticizes your appearance and life choices without ever praising you, that will take a toll on your mental well-being. A parent-child relationship where the parent is constantly negative about everything else, even if she praises you, is also toxic. If your mother is constantly negative about her other relationships, including other family members or the world, that is a toxic pattern. If this behavior began when you were a child, it could cause consistent anxiety. Constant negativity about the rest of the world can also be an attempt to isolate you from everyone else. Your mother may be trying to create an us against the world mentality with you intentionally or unintentionally. So, which is another way of overstepping personal boundaries by impacting your relationship with others. These are just some of the signs, but if your relationship with your mother consistently makes you feel sad, angry, insecure, as if you are the worst version of yourself, then it might be toxic. Now, let me tell you something. In this film, there's a scene, like it's towards the end, where all of the family members, like the aunties, the grandma, they all have red pandas, right? Because it was passed down to them with generations and generations. Now, Mei Li's mom is like, she has the biggest red panda of them all. And it's because of the grandmother. The grandmother put so much pressure on the mom, on Mei Li's mom, that she still feels like a child inside. Just watch this scene.
Are you okay? We have to... Sorry, it's all my fault. What happened? I hurt her. My mom. I got so angry and I lost control. I'm just so sick of being perfect. I'm never gonna be good enough for her. Or anyone.
The fact that Mei Li's mom says that she doesn't feel good enough, she put that generational pressure on Mei Li. And Mei Li had to tell her mom, I'm not like you. I'm not perfect like you. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. And that takes a lot of guts to stand up to your mom, to tell her, I'm not going to be like you. If we're going to have a healthy relationship, then we need to change how we communicate with each other, because this is awful. And I just really empathize with Mei Li and her mom. And I think the grandmother was just way too harsh on the mom. And it just causes her to feel like a kid and balled up inside. And I thought that scene was really powerful. And I really appreciate for Disney Pixar kind of showing how powerful storytelling could be. And this is what I mean by this is why I love Disney, because it's just relatable stories like this. It was really well done. Really well done. What to do when you realize that you are in a toxic relationship. Realizing that you're in a toxic relationship with your mother can be devastating. It can feel as if you are doomed to repeat these unhealthy patterns forever. The first step is to get support for yourself. You may go through a period of mourning where you grieve the relationship with your mother that you could have had if it was respectful, safe, and healthy. Find a support network that can include other family members, friends, and maybe even a professional therapist. Working to undo the sadness from an unhealthy parental relationship can take time, but be patient with yourself and look at it as a journey to get to know the real you. If your mother is open to working on your relationship, then you don't need to cut her off. Through talking with her, using strategies for healthy communication, and seeking a professional relationship therapist to mediate, you can unlearn toxic patterns together. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you for listening to my take on Turning Red and the mother-daughter relationship in this film. I believe there is always hope that things could get better, and we really just have to be willing to keep it real with ourselves first and foremost, right? And your emotional well-being is the most important. And what I was such a fond of in this film were her friends, all of her friends, just empathizing with her and being her true support system. And let's not forget the dad. Mei Lee's dad, oh my gosh, I love him too. Her dad even had a talk with her about the red panda, and he really helped bring her a sense of peace and understanding. I think in general, it's just hard growing up and transitioning from childhood to adulthood. It's not black and white. There are so many stages of life that hopefully we can all get through. But anyways, I love you all for your support. And please feel free to comment below. This is a safe space for you to share your opinions about this film or the topic at hand. I will swim with you all next time. This is Millie the Mermaid.